Can I be sensitive and still feel strong? Can I honor my sensitivity and still feel like I can be strong? If you have been asking these questions, if maybe you are at a place in your life where you feel like everyone tells you how sensitive you are, everyone is making you a little uncomfortable about how sensitive you are, if you are feeling uncomfortable about your sensitivity, I am very glad that this video found you. I was there not that long ago. I am in a place in my life right now when I'm realizing that I get to honor my emotions. I get to work with my emotions to create the life I want. But it's just, I think it's been recently that I'm realizing, I'm kind of reflecting about my last few years, and I'm like, wow, it used to not be like this. I am super, super grateful where I get to be now in my life. And I'm also realizing that this is where everything started for me in my journey of self-discovery. I'm not only super grateful, I am super excited to be able to talk about this, because I never thought that I was going to get to a place where I would be able to share the things that have worked, that brought me to the place I am right now, that I'm 100% sure if they worked for me, they can work for you as well. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to share a little bit of my process and all the tools that helped me in my process of understanding my sensitivity, understanding my emotions, and to finally get to honor them and enjoy them and just get so much magic from them. So welcome to another video. If you don't know me, if this is the first time that you see me, that you are in my channel, I share in my videos, in my channel, everything that I have been experiencing, all the breakthroughs, all the insights that I've been collecting, experiencing during the process of starting a business guided by my intuition. And yeah, I'm very excited about this video. I think I speak to everyone, but I try to talk to creatives. I am a creative, and I feel like it can be a challenge if you didn't grow up as a creative with the right tools, with the right environment. If that's what you do for work, if you use your creativity to as your source of finances, you probably have realized at some point that you need to take care of your creativity. And a lot of creativity, we already know that creativity comes from this connection with the self. That's not something that you take a pill and then you get creative. It is a process that can look in many different ways for a lot of us. And sometimes if we are going through difficult times, challenging times, it can be really, really hard to know how to use our emotions so they can help us to be in that creative flow. So yeah, that's why I like to talk to creative, but everyone is welcome. Everyone that feels like you are having that awareness that, oh my god, either people are telling me that I am so sensitive, too sensitive, or if you are feeling like, okay, I need to do something with my sensitivity because it's just like overwhelming and I don't know how to relate to people, how to connect with life from a more peaceful place. Just to share a little bit of my background of how everything started for me, I find a moment, I think I did live most of my 20s not knowing about myself. I feel like there were times where I got to enjoy life and do super exciting things, but I didn't have the awareness I get to have today. So I'm super excited for anyone in their 20s watching these videos, having the amount of information that there's out there these days. Because yeah, I'm sure when you get to my age, not to compare, but yeah, I'm sure it's just gonna be way more fun and more enjoyable. But yeah, in my late 20s, I had a massive change in my career. I was working in my first business, an underwear brand, and I take this little break, and I was kind of going crazy because I didn't know what to do. I was getting so much energy and excitement from working in this business, and then I think it's normal, right? Like I feel like it happens to a lot of entrepreneurs of having just a little time where I don't know what's next for me. And I just wasn't aware that that was happening to me. I knew that I was just stopping working on something, and I was very concerned about my biggest concern was what's gonna happen with my creativity. So I started working with different creativity coach that was a neuroscience, and I was just curious, like, okay, let's go deep inside inwards and find out, like what's going on, what's going to happen with my creativity. So little by little I started connecting with different sources of information. One that I am going to recommend, I'm going to share my experience, what did work and what didn't work for me. It's called To Be Magnetic. It's a wonderful place. I connected so deeply with the way that Lacey Phillips explains a lot of the subjects that they teach in this in her program. I don't know if we can say it's an academy, it's an app, it's a website where they have a bunch of classes, workshops. I think that's a better way to say it. So I was listening to her podcasts and learning so much about self-discovery, spirituality, all these things. And there's this big event. We went into the pandemic 2020. I was in a relationship. And I'm going to share something that might be sensitive. So, I mean, I was a little insecure about sharing this in this video. But God, I feel like a big part of my self believes that all women, we should feel comfortable, especially if we are sensitive. If I'm not, like sharing this with the intention of people feeling sorry for me or anything like that. I think any woman in their late 20s, early 30s, we already probably have gone for 1 or 2 miscarriages. Like that's normal. We all have sex, like I would assume most people, and we all are in relationships. And even if you're taking care of yourself, accidents happen. And so I kind of want to normalize and give you permission of just feel like you can express yourself and just share about these things. And it's important for me to share this because after this miscarriage with a partner that I didn't feel like we were going to be together, it's just a big moment because it's the first time as a woman when I connect with the feeling of becoming a mother. The first time that I have that deep knowing this is not the partner I want to create a family, but I was still emotionally very attached to this relationship. Is the pandemic, so many layers, and then I go through this process of hormonal disorder. And this is 2020, like today we are in 2025. Like there's way so much information about hormones and how to treat the different phases of your cycle, even how to treat the period after a miscarriage. Back then it wasn't that. There wasn't ChatGPT, there were many apps, so it was very lonely. And I don't know if lonely is the way I want to say it. Like I just didn't know much what to do. I just went through the whole thing, and I was already doing To Be Magnetic, some of the workshops with them, so I had already a little awareness. And I remember, I'm going to describe a little bit more in depth what's To Be Magnetic work, but it's a lot of self-discovery work. So they teach in their workshops, you learn about inner child, shadow work. So it's just discovering who you are and all your patterns and all your things. But the way the brand teaches all these programs, it's in order for you to manifest the things that you want in your life. So as I share, I was going through this massive shift in my career. So there were some things that I was working on. And I remember going through this miscarriage and going through this crazy relationship and all these things. And I remember journaling and writing down the one thing I wanted to focus before focusing on the major things that was, my career and all the bigger things I wanted to manifest. I wanted the first thing that was in my list. It was, I want to understand my emotions. I want to feel good about my emotional being. Like deeply inside of me, I was I feel like maybe yes, I was desperate at that point. But yeah, it's just the one desire deep inside of my heart, inside of me, that I wanted, like before anything else in my life. I was desperate to understand my emotions. I was noticing patterns, and I'm sure like it wasn't just me. I'm sure there are a lot of girls, women that might be experiencing this at this moment, where every single month, depending on the phase of your period, it's just an explosion of emotion. It's just like so overwhelming. One thing that maybe it is helpful that I share, since I was 25, like funny to say that it's exactly 10 years now. Since I was 25, I was in a different relationship. I decided that I didn't want to be on birth control. So I was using other ways to do birth control, but I wasn't taking anything. So I knew it was just my body. I knew it wasn't any chemicals that I was getting from the birth control, the pills or the ring or things like that. So yeah, I remember asking life, universe, God, whoever, we ask for things from, to just help me, to guide me to understand my emotions. Something that I would like to share, not only about To Be Magnetic, but in general about any coach, any teacher, any brand that you want to work with to do your self-discovery work, to learn about yourself. It is that it's just one of those things that I wish I understood. I think I heard it when I was just starting to work on all these concepts and learning all these teachings. It's just one of those funny things that I am going to share this with you, and I feel like I wish I knew this, but I aware also that when we are new to this work, we don't have the consciousness to understand these things. So I'm just gonna throw this out there and see if it helps, if maybe someone needs to hear this at this moment. And what I'm going to share is that it is very important that we are also aware about the relationship we have with these teachings, with the tools, with the people we're learning from. It's very easy a lot of the time, depending on the experiences we have had, the trauma, the relationship we had with our parents, with authority, that we put these teachers and the teachings on a pedestal, and we relate to them from that place of feeling like they are the saviors, they are the gods that they are going to solve our issues. And it is really important that we understand that they are humans as we are. They might just have walked in different areas of life a little longer than us, so they might have a little more experience in some areas than us. But the importance of normalizing that they are humans, it is that can help you to understand that some of the things that you learn from them might be the ones that can help you today, and might be the ones that you need today, but also allows you to be open to not only focus in one thing. So I want to invite you, I want to remind you to allow yourself to be curious and to explore, and to not think that is just one place, one person, one teaching, one tool, what is going to help you in your journey. I was obsessed with To Be Magnetic, and I think it was part of my process. I connected not only with the brand, but with Lacey Phillips from many different places, very deeply. I think she is probably a few years older than me. I'm in my mid-30s, and she represented many things for me. She was like a mothering energy that was she combines a lot of the things that I am fascinated about in life: psychology, neuroscience, spirituality, but also creativity. Her style is very unique, very authentic. She also is in California. I was in California. She was bringing to her podcast a lot of other people that I knew too. So the connection with her and her brand felt very deep. And also I'm a creative, so I appreciate design, and I feel like in self-development, spirituality, it is kind of hard to find brands that look nice, that look cool. And she's just, I have to give her the credit for being, I think, the only one, or one of the only ones that her brand looks really cool. It's just cool. Other brands are pretty, are sweet, are, loving, whatever, but her brand is pretty cool, you know? So the music and her podcasts, just like, I don't know, I connected with everything, her voice. I did her meditations morning, midday, night during the pandemic, over and over. And I don't know, she's just the base. That's something that maybe I want to say. She's the base of my journey in self-discovery. So I am super incredible grateful for everything that she has done. Even lately that I've been, taking a peek of what they're doing. It's so amazing where they are. It's like they just went through this experience in LA, and the way she, it's like something really magical about To Be Magnetic and her work. The way she teaches this and her perspective in life is that she has the ability, and she has this vision, magical, fascinating way of transforming life and events in life, and how to interpret what's happening in your life so you can use it. I think that's why I wanted to talk about To Be Magnetic in this video, because it is, I think, the base for me, the biggest tool that I learned in my process of learning how to use and work with my sensitivity. I could have seen my sensitivity for the rest of my life as something negative, but thanks to how she explains things, and again, all this knowledge, it's almost like she teaches you how to alkalinize, if you can say that in English, how to transform. She talks so much about how to bring things from the shadow to the light. And I think, because I want to say, I'm not sure about this, but when we get into these journeys, when we get into this space of self-discovery or spirituality, those four teachers, I think it's making sense for you. They, a lot of times, they're just the base of the rest of your journey. So yeah, super incredible grateful for what they have done, for where they are right now. Like, even as I said, like, I was checking lately their new meditations and their podcasts, the way they explain things now. It just to give you a little reference, when I started working with the brand, where I first found the podcasts, the first podcast I listened to, it was the 87. And this week, I think the one that I listened, it was the 350th or something like that. So it was pretty new when I first connected with the brand. Joe Dispenza, he was another place I learned a lot of the things in my journey of self-discovery. So coming from Lacey was a very, very mothering space. Like, she represented a lot of that mother energy. And right after her, I went to learn from Joe Dispenza, so it was like my father energy. He is a lot of how the mind works, and Lacey is a lot of the emotions, understanding your heart space. Joe Dispenza also talks a lot about your heart, and but yeah, it's just, I feel like I learned more about the spiritual side of things with Lacey. And with Joe Dispenza, I might share about this experience in another video, but I had insomnia during the pandemic, which later I understood that it was part of my spiritual awakening. But at that moment, when I was experiencing insomnia, I didn't know what was happening with me. And working with Joe Dispenza's teachings, I understood that I just didn't know how to manage, how to use my mind and my thoughts. So another fascinating space to dive in. He has a lot of programs and the retreats. I haven't gone to any of his retreats, but it's just like a loving human. Everything that you're gonna hear from him is just gonna be like a hug for your heart. It's just like two places, two people that I highly recommend to check out. So those are two of the biggest sources where I learned most of the tools for my self-discovery journey. I also want to say that astrology and human design helped me so much to understand myself. I know it's not for everyone, so I just want to put it out there in case you resonate. Human design, I think, helped me to understand kind of like my purpose, how I can use my energy in terms of my career. And astrology just helps me so much to understand my behaviors, how to relate and connect with other people. Like, I think they both are a little similar, but yeah, I kind of, both of them gives me a lot of validation and permission just to own my energy and who I am, and to understand deeply others and how I can connect with others. So now that you have a little understanding of what have been the tools that I have used in my process of self-discovery, and yeah, just understanding who I am and how I can live a life that I get to enjoy, and honoring my sensitive self, my emotional self. So now breaking down a little bit of how you can do it. Of course, you can use these resources that I share, but you can also be open to find your own. So the first thing that I recommend, if you are new to all these concepts, is to discover who you are. Yeah, it's just crazy for me to look back to when I didn't know much about myself, and it's so wonderful how you get to live life when you have so much understanding. I am having this funny moment in my life where I am interacting with people that I admire, and they're very good in different areas in life, professionally or in relationships. But sometimes when I'm interacting with them, I'm like, I can see that they don't know why they say things, why they do things, and I get frustrated a little bit. But at the same time, I'm becoming aware of, oh God, it's so good where I am in my life. I am so aware of what I say, of the place the things that I say come from. So that helps me to just live a life with more integrity. So all these people, it's not to compare or to judge them. It's just something that I've been noticing around me. I feel like they carry a lot of guilt, and they are also like either apologizing or finding all these ways to get validation from you, when I can see myself. And because I'm the way is, what happens is that when you become so aware of who you are, you're just so intentional. You know who you want to be at work, you know who you want to be with your relationships. It's such a beautiful place. I don't know, I hope this is making sense, and you understand the little magic or the big magic you get to experience when we discover who we are. So first step is just discover. I like the term self-discovery, but just you can create your own way of discovering who you are, where you come from, what happened in your childhood, what are the things that you learned from your parents. Yes, working with a therapist, with a coach, that it is a way. As I shared, I did not use one of those. I did it by myself, and it was very empowering. And yes, probably I made a lot of mistakes. So the important thing about learning where you're coming from is to learn your patterns. Why I do the things that I do, why I say the things that I say, why I'm attracted to the things that I'm attracted, right? And because if we go back to the idea of the feeling that you might be experiencing right now of your sensitivity is not making you feel good. So what's happening there is that you are misusing, you are, yeah, if we can say that, you're misusing your sensitivity. You know, your sensitivity is causing you problems and issues. So you need to understand who you are, your parents, to understand how you're using your sensitivity. You know, I would assume that it's happening for you what used to happen for me, that I will get all this feedback from people, you're so sensitive. So the first thing that I had to learn is to not hang out with people that would think that I was too sensitive. And that's a process, you know. It can be quick for some people, for other people it can be long. Setting up, well, let's continue breaking down. So I was just giving you a little example, like how self-discovery, discover who you are, to learn your patterns is step 2. So you start understanding what are the things that you are doing that are causing, are creating the discomfort you're experiencing right now in your life. Third, I would say, yes, I am a little tired of this term, but it is really important that we heal, that we feel the unfelt emotions. I want to say for sensitive people, because we have been shamed for being sensitive, a lot of us might have developed this behavior of protecting ourselves in a funny way. And what we do is that we pretend that we are not feeling anything. You know, we don't allow ourselves to feel because we learned that feeling is bad, right? So we start blocking our emotions, and that only creates a lot of anxiety, and in my case, it created a lot of reactivity. So people would say something, and instead of me, you know, feeling the feelings and maybe crying, I would just react and I would respond. I was just like very protective with my energy and my things. And so it is very important your own way of healing. So in the process of self-discovery, understanding where you are, where you learn, you know, things in your past, understanding your patterns, then you need to create that space for feeling the unfelt emotions. Like, it is something that I'm sure you have heard, the healing process, learning about yourself, this journey of self-discovery. It's something that is for the rest of your life. It's not like, oh, we do this program for a couple of years and then we are done. No, like even last year, I did this breath work ceremony. I'm a very curious person. I love to explore with different things. And I didn't know what was gonna happen, to be honest. I was just excited to try this new technique of breath work, and oh my freaking god. I think it was an hour long, and I didn't only cry, I think I screamed. I was just like shaking on the floor of my apartment. It was wild, and it was the first time in my life, and this is last year. So if I started my journey in 2020, 2019, like it's 3-4 years deep in my journey. And it was the first time that I realized that I was very aware that I was feeling unfelt emotions, and I was having all these images, all these memories of the times in my life where I didn't have the opportunity to feel my emotions, that I didn't even know. So this is one of the magical things when we do this work. We start understanding how we truly feel, because we don't know ourselves. So a lot of the time we just don't know how we feel. How are you gonna know how you feel if you don't know yourself? If you know yourself, you know, I like pink because this and that. But if you don't know yourself, you just wear things because they're trendy or because whatever. But once you know, this is the reason I like pink, it's you have like this closer relationship with yourself. You already know the reason why you like pink and the reason why you like the things that you like. You will agree with me that you just make better decisions for yourself. You take care better of yourself, you know. We can use the example of drinking alcohol. You know, if you're ready, know that the reason why you don't want to drink alcohol is one, because you get a 3 days hangover, and two, because you do silly things when you are drunk. I'm sure if you go to a party and someone offers you a drink, it would be just instant that you're like, no, I know myself, I know how I'm going to feel tomorrow, so I'm not gonna have a drink tonight. The magic of that experience of feeling the unfilled emotions, I want to say one of the biggest pieces for me was realizing that I got to know myself even better. So I'm sharing different things in this story, I'm sorry. So we're talking about the importance of feeling, or emotions, but I'm also sharing the benefit of even feeling, emotions from your past. Because yeah, that just opens up, like places that you just didn't know that are inside of you, parts of your personality, even I want to say like strange, like yeah, like creativity. It's like what happens with the unfelt emotions is like you put them, experiences and feelings, that you put them in a box, but they're not gonna go anywhere, they're inside of you. So it's almost like that's part of you, but you have been hiding them. So in the moment you open that box and you integrate them to who you are, it's just like, it is a really amazing feeling. So all this is part of healing, of feeling. All these are things that happen with the process of healing, of feeling your emotions, which is also super fun, What you can see in a lot of people that do this kind of work is that we start honoring more who we are. So in that sense, I started honoring more, it's kind of hard for me to think of examples how I started changing, but it's just, I don't attract more people that make me feel too sensitive. Now I think I laugh when people even try to say that I am sensitive. Like, I used to break in tears. Like, I used to feel so awful when people used to tell me that I was sensitive. And so I don't feel like I attract that energy. When I do have someone around that is kind of making me feel like that, I now laugh about it. And third, like I have a juicy, delicious relationship with myself. Like, I enjoy so much being sensitive. Like, I know the places that takes me. So these are just like 3 of the things that have happened to me since I went from feeling like shit from being sensitive to where I am right now. And that happened a lot with the part of doing the healing, feeling the unfelt emotions. 4th step in this process, it's one that personally was a little tricky for me, and I wish you the best in this process. It might not be as difficult for you. It is a really amazing part of the process, and it's setting up boundaries. I still, right now, it's hitting me hard. Boundaries with yourself and boundaries with others. I want to say that, Jesus, yeah, it's been painful. It's one of the most painful parts of my process, setting up boundaries and feeling okay, because for me it brings up a lot of guilt. We all are coming from different trauma, once you go and open that little box of what happened in your childhood, what happened in your life. We have different parents with different behaviors. We have seen and experienced many different things. So I have a lot of guilt. So setting up boundaries, yeah, is one of the biggest lessons in my life, but it is the most transforming thing, and it's so key and important in this process of working with your sensitivity. You have to. Personal boundaries, like, okay, I know this is something that doesn't make me feel good. This is something that I don't want. So I need to, set up that boundary, and also boundaries with others. And if you are coming from being a people pleaser, a lot of sensitive people might identify as people pleasers as well, you might relate with the idea that, yeah, it is just easier and more comfortable to say yes and to do what others want just to make them feel happy than say, no, I want something different, you know? And one thing that I'm gonna add on this pocket of things is that if you're coming from being a sensitive person, now my tone is going up, you probably might identify with the fact that you haven't felt heard in, you know, at some point in your life, childhood, or, you know, yeah, like you might have a time in your life where it's been hard to speak up. That's the same thing about setting up. It's in the same space of setting up boundaries, you know. If you were in the same pocket as I was of being defensive, you probably have used your voice not in the way you might have wanted to do it, you know. So I think in this space, in this part of the process of setting up boundaries, it's a lot of connecting and creating your voice, working with how you want to express yourself. And something that I can recommend, like having this YouTube channel has been super great for me, but it's not the only way. You can start finding places where you are not setting out boundaries, but where you are speaking, you know, where you're sharing your ideas, when you're feeling comfortable with your tone. Exaggerating here a little bit, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. That's something that can help with your process of setting out boundaries. You know, take a space, any conversation, dinner with friends, you know, start using your voice, start expressing your ideas, because a lot of the times when we have to set our boundaries, we have to be firm, and if we don't practice that in other spaces in our lives, the moment we are faced with, you know, when we have to set our boundaries, we start freaking out, and it's just hard for us to do it. So that's all about setting out boundaries. One next step, the most important one, and it's self-love slash acceptance. A lot of the times when we get into the self-discovery, self-development, and working, you know, learning how to set out boundaries, it is work. It can feel like work. You know, we are trying to become aware, and we want to do it. You know, we are committed to become that better version of yourself. We want to create change in our lives. You know, if you're passionate as I am, I'm sure you might relate with this idea. We started becoming a little vigilant, you know, of the things that we do and how we do it. So be gentle with yourself. Be as gentle as possible, and something that helps you with this, with remembering that you have to be gentle with this process, is maintaining a practice of self-love. And that can look different for everyone. I always invite people to explore. I can share always what has worked and what I like doing, what has worked for me. And I'm very into fitness, working out, exercising, dancing. Like I go crazy sometimes, play music and dance and do all the things where I can express my energy, move my body, move my energy. So the thing with emotions, and now that we know we all are sensitive in this space, emotions, it's almost like, I'm sure you feel them in different places in your body. Like I get a lot of tension in my shoulders. The other day I was, you know, if you're into astrology, astrologers have been saying that things are changing very quickly this year, and I was like, is this the way how things are changing for me? I was feeling anxiety in my chest. I was feeling like pressure in my chest. I was, oh my god, this is kind of new. But you might relate. You might feel something in your stomach. Some people say that they feel like they have weight in their shoulders. So that's the good thing about working out and exercising, and it's an expression, it's a form of self-love. You know, you're taking care of your body. So being gentle and explore the way you like to connect with your body. You know, do different things, explore different ways, and find that one that you feel like you're loving your body, you're loving yourself. Yeah. And for some people can look like walking in nature. What other ideas? For some people can be having good conversations with an amazing friend, with a parent, family member. I think that piece of connection, it is a wonderful form of self-love as well. I'm very grateful that I have amazing parents and siblings, and I have these beautiful spaces with them where we just, yeah, we have really nice conversations, and that always helps also move the emotions, you know. Find those spaces where you feel seen, and where you feel like you can also be there for others. This is another way of self-love. I shared recently in one of my videos with all the fires in LA. I noticed that a lot of people were very into donating things and helping each other and all these things, and that's a massive place where you can practice self-love. And it's when we serve, when we find the thing that we can do for others, being in that energy, in that exchange of doing something for others. It's so humbling. It just connects us with love, with the energy of love, and the exchange with the other person that is receiving. It's a lot of gratitude energy. So we are in that gratitude, and gratitude, of course, is love as well. So so many ideas you can explore and find yours, but this piece during the whole process, I would say it is very important. So do the healing and do the self-discovery and do all these things, but with all this process also, I recommend always in my videos as well to have a place that can be a journal. It has been a journal for me, to track what's happening with you, a place to come back and review and celebrate and be proud of the things that you're doing. Don't be a perfectionist. I have a lot of videos about how I've been transforming that behavior, and things don't need to be perfect. Things don't need to be done in a month or 2 months. You know, be super gentle and loving. So having a journal, I always have one. Space, it's a space. That's what it is, a space of connection with yourself. And the more intention you put in those spaces of, you know, the way you're writing and the things, the tone you're writing about yourself, the way you're describing what's happening in your life, that's a place where you can cultivate self-love as well. So it is about exploring and, yes, putting effort in doing the work, but also, as you have here, the more you get to enjoy the process, the more beauty you're gonna find, the more you're gonna open up to everything that you might need and want to learn during this journey. And I hope this is giving you some ideas. This is what I have done. I encourage you, I invite you to find also your own ways, your own tools. You can always ask me if you want some more information. But doing all these steps and diving into this journey, what is going to help you is just to accept that part of yourself that you might be rejecting at the moment. As I said at the beginning of the video, if you feel overwhelmed and uncomfortable about your sensitivity, it's because there is this you might not know where it comes from, and you learned, you know, to reject it, you learn that it's not okay. So all this long explanation and all this long video to tell you it is a beautiful thing that you have. And once you do some of these things, or all the things that I did, you're gonna get to a beautiful place in your life where you're gonna find that that's your freaking superpower, that you can do wonderful things, you can get to experience life from wonderful places. So I'm super excited for you. Do not feel ashamed, please. From this video on, you are wonderful. You're beautiful the way you are. You have an incredible superpower that, yes, you're about to learn what it is about, but it is beautiful. So there's not a step back from this video. If I can support, I can help in your process, please don't hesitate. You're not alone. There are many of us out there, and we are freaking awesome. Peace and love until my next video.